Okay, folks, today Soonoo, my wife, is going to prepare a very typical Parsi dish called Dhansak. It's a festive sort of dish, and we're going to make mutton Dhansak with goat meat. And I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that Soonoo is going to be using. So, one of the most important things is we are using Dhanshak powder that Soonoo's purchased from India. You can get it pre-prepared in uh, most Indian stores will have it, and if you can't find it, there's so many different recipes for dhansak, but I'll try and find you a generic one and I'll post it on our site and I'll give you a link. Now, in the dhansak itself, we're going to add. Um,
The lentils. In the lentils.
oh yeah, but we'll. So yeah, let's start with the lentils. I already photographed them separately. There are three types of lentils in here. I don't know how to describe them in English, so I'll give you the Indian words for it. One is called tur dal, and there's a special kind of tur dal which is oiled. So this is the oiled tur dal. Then we have chana dal, which is gram lentil, and masoor dal, which is again it's a pinkish colored, tiny orange colored lentil. I've got photographs of them. That's the only way I can describe it. So we've soaked these, and these have been soaked for what?
5 hours.
About 5 hours. In addition to that, we have our goat meat nicely chopped up into cubes, I guess. Yeah. And over here, coming back over here, we've got. I think we'll go around in a circle. We've got the eggplant. This is fenugreek. It's powdered fenugreek.
You can use fresh fenugreek leaves also, but I find this gives out more of the aroma and flavor. So I use the dried one.
Yeah, and a couple of dried red chilies. This is mint and pumpkin over here, and one onion. So roughly sizing this out, this would be about 2 tablespoons, 2 chilies, of course, a handful of mint, not too much. This is about a cup and a half, or is it a cup? 1 cup of a pumpkin, about one medium-sized onion, and of course we've got one eggplant over there. In addition to the dhansak powder, we're going to be using salt and turmeric. So not too much spice, but dhansak is a very complex spice. So like I said, I'll try and find a generic recipe that most people use, and I'll post it for you guys. Of course, like I said, you could always go to a store and look for dhansak masala made by Shan and some of the other companies. Okay, so that's about everything for the moment. And we'll go ahead with what Soonoo is going to. We're going to be using a pressure cooker. So Soonoo is going to be
putting in the dal. By the way, Jai Baba all. I will be putting in the dal with a certain amount of water, with the meat and the chopped up ingredients, along with the salt and turmeric powder.
Okay.
And we'll cook it in the pressure cooker. So I'll just fill the. अंदाजा से करो कि you want me to measure?
No, just to show them that how much. Now you're going to throw away the water that the thing was soaked in?
Yes.
Okay.
I've already, before soaking it, I washed it in about 3 waters and then soaked it for 5. You can soak it for more. The more the better. 5 to 7 hours.
And approximately, so I just want to explain that this amount of dal that we are making is going to be a little bit too much because we sort of measured it. So, what were the measurements you originally used, and what are we going to? Two of the oily tur dal
and one cup of
and
the other
1 cup of each of the other two dals.
I would recommend using one for the amount we are making today. I would recommend using 1.5 of the oily dal. Majority of that will be the oily dal, and maybe a quarter cup of the.
Just a quarter or half?
Half is also fine.
I think half.
I do everything with. I don't measure anything.
Yeah,
so it's very difficult for me.
She's
So,
very,
yeah.
very much like me, and
I just do it.
we just often just go by feel. Okay, so we're giving the dal another wash before we pour out all the water from it. I wonder if we're losing nutrients by doing this.
You're supposed to soak the dal.
Anyways, I'm just going to see how much water first
That I
you've
may add
added
also.
in
Once
there.
the dal goes in, it'll give me an idea.
Yeah, so it's about a couple of inches from the bottom.
Yeah, but it'll probably need more because dal soaks up a lot of water, and plus we have to cook the meat, so we will need extra water.
So now the Dhansak dish is made up of this dal with the mutton. You can make it with mutton, chicken, vegetables, a variety of different things. But it consists of two parts. So you have the dal, which is the gravy type substance, and then in a dish, it's served on top of caramelized rice. So it's a brownish, very rich, lovely rice, and we'll go through that too as we go along. We've soaked the rice in water, as you can see in that white bowl over there. And what's happening now?
I'm just chopping
Oh,
up
Soonoo's going to be doing some
just
minor
the
chopping
rest-
and stuff like
rest
that.
of the stuff is chopped up, but I'm just going to chop off the. You can put one small tomato also in there, but I prefer not to because of the acidic thing. Sometimes the meat doesn't cook, so I don't put the tomato in there because we'll be adding the tomato separately when we cook the Dhansak spice. So that's where my tomatoes will go. So there's really no need to put tomatoes in there. So we'll just.
All right, so all of that stuff goes in. So there's no pre-frying or prep
Yeah,
work.
we'll have to fry it for the masala that we'll make separately. That will
that
require
is okay.
frying.
So there's
Yeah.
a separate component.
Yeah.
So this is not all the masala. It's when we actually
This is
start
the-
using the Dhansak masala that we'll be doing all the frying stuff and things like that, right?
Once the dal and the meat is cooked, then I will be separating the meat from the dal and pureeing the dal, and then we'll make the masala separately and add it in there.
Okay.
Another thing I forgot is I like to add a little bit of oil in the, maybe just a quarter cup.
I think that would be more like instead of a quarter cup, maybe that was three tablespoons. Yeah, I would say approximately 3 tablespoons is what you added in. So we're just going to stir it up and then add the salt in now.
Salt, if it's less, it's better. That way we can always add it in later.
Later,
if it's less.
yeah.
Just 1 and 2 nicely heaped tablespoons of the turmeric.
Teaspoons.
Teaspoons, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have to add the meat in there.
See, I think this is the advantage of making it in a pressure cooker. Traditionally, this would have been done on a slow fire in a regular vessel and cooked very, very slowly for
Really?
hours.
With that?
Yeah.
You always need it like that.
No, I'm talking about time when cookers weren't invented.
Oh.
Right?
Remember they showed us a show where cooker which in some 1800s.
Yeah,
Cooker
but that's the one. We used to have that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a multi-stacked cooker.
Just from the color of it, I'm just going to add a little more turmeric. Just a tad. So 2.5 teaspoons. And I may add water because the dal is going to soak up, even though it's nicely, soaked. pre-soaked. For cooking, it will still soak up. Plus, the meat has to cook. So,
don't you think adding a few more chilies would have been?
we'll be adding chili powder and all in
Oh,
the
okay,
masala.
okay.
So why would you
Oh, okay,
This
there's
is just
still
for
more to come.
flavoring,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to cover
All
the
right.
pressure
So,
cooker.
yeah. What kind of pressure cooker is this again?
This is your Futura.
Futura. Yeah, this is a bit of a weird pressure cooker.
They can whatever
Quite
pressure
different
cooker they
from,
have,
yeah.
they can use their judgment to cook how much it takes for them to cook the dal and the meat, so they can
Yeah.
use their judgment for that.
No, it's
Once
because
you-
I don't quite understand when our Parsi cooking groups, the women say, okay,
many
you do it
whistles?
for 3 whistles or 6 whistles or so and so. Over here, we just wait for the one
For
whistle
the
to
steam
pop.
come out, then I put the vessel, and once the steam has built up, then I lower the gas and
Cook it on
cook
medium.
it for medium. Yeah, lower than medium, and for about 15 minutes.
Okay, all right. So while that's happening, do you have to do any more prep for the masalas
Yeah.
to get them ready?
Now you can do the. I'll have to fry some onions and chop up some onions and fry.
Okay,
some
so I'll
onions.
pause it for a while. We'll take a break from the recording, and once we're ready to go, we'll start recording again. Okay, so now this sort of, not really a whistle, but the steam sound and a little bit of stuff on the top, we tap it, and then when it starts doing that pitch thing, each one has a different pressure cooker, so I don't know why I'm doing this. This is more for my own learning. I don't cook any Parsi food. I've never learned to do it, so learning from Soonoo now. Okay, so now we're going to just turn it down, and we're going to leave it for how long? So
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, so we set the timer.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so now this is step 2 of preparing the Dhansak dal. And what we do is we're going to prepare a separate mixture that's going to be a separate masala that we will be adding to the dal after it's cooked. Am I right, Soonoo?
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
wait, tomatoes also you have to add.
Oh, right. So Soonoo's going to be chopping some tomatoes. So now Soonoo's got the other stuff ready. She's going to describe what she's going to be doing with some of the stuff we've got over here. Go ahead.
I've chopped up a large onion. I'll fry it and then add the ginger garlic, some Kashmiri chili, very little of it because Dhansak masala already has some chilies in it. Very little bit of salt because we've already added the salt in the dal, and then I'll add the Dhansak masala. So when we are doing that, we'll show you how we are mixing everything. And once the dal is done, once the pressure has settled in the cooker, we'll remove the meat from there and puree the dal and then add the mixture. That we are just.
You didn't mention the tomatoes. What do we do with tomatoes?
We'll puree the tomatoes after
Okay.
the onions are fried. We puree the tomatoes. Once the masalas are added in the fried onions, we'll add
The last will be the addition of those.
tomatoes. Yeah.
But the important thing is that once that dal is cooked, we're going to remove the meat from it,
Yeah.
so it doesn't get tough and
While
hard.
we are pureeing
And
the dal.
then we'll continue with the dal, and
Yeah.
we'll show you what happens next. Okay, so we're going to pause for a moment and go to the next step. Okay, so right now the onions are being fried. I think we normally wait till the onions turn a little pinkish,
Yeah.
and then add the ginger and garlic paste in there. And by the way, if you don't have the fresh tomatoes in the house or enough tomatoes in the house, feel free to use a bit of what is it called? Oh, diced tomatoes from a can, or pureed tomatoes from a can. That also works. Just be cautious that it isn't too tart. Alright, so what we're just doing is we just chopped up the tomatoes, poured it into the blender, and Soonoo's just pureeing them. And that is what we'll be adding into the masala.
Onions are a little golden brown, so we'll add ginger. bottom of this bottle.
You know what? Use a big, real tablespoon maybe. That'll be the best. Those tiny little measuring spoons. Alright, so here's a regular tablespoon
Ginger.
of ginger.
Garlic.
Yep.
You can use regular chili or Kashmiri chili. Kashmiri
This is chili powder, right?
Yeah. I'm just using maybe a teaspoon.
And show them how big your teaspoon is.
No, this is not a
Because
teaspoon.
yeah, okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But,
Oh, you're going to add more?
No, from my andaja I can tell
Right,
that's
right.
a teaspoon.
Okay, so 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri chili powder. You can add just plain red chili powder too. And now comes the main ingredient,
This is the Dhansak masala.
the Dhanshak masala. So that was 3 heaped tablespoons so far.
Because there's a lot of that.
How much oil did you use? Just a not
to soak the,
yeah, just to soak it in, right?
Yeah, and a little more.
Yeah.
So all the flavor from the oil also gets into the dal when we pour it in. And I think we need one more.
All right. So there we go.
Just a pinch of not a pinch, but maybe a little bit. Fry it nicely. The oil separates, means it's nicely fried.
Oh,
And then we'll add the tomatoes.
Oh, look at that bubbling, delicious stuff. I wish you guys could smell this. Amazing. Okay. And now here come the pureed tomatoes.
Mix it all up and let it cook with the tomatoes.
And now that cooker, oh yeah, you've got
There's
the
still 3 minutes left.
3 minutes left on the timer, okay.
In the meantime, we make our rice
Okay,
after this is. Let it cook.
so I'm gonna,
You have to let it cook for a while.
yeah.
Because,
And you're doing it on medium
yeah.
heat, right? Of course, the funny black things we have on our stove are child protectors because we've got a very, very rambunctious 2-year-old grandson. And we want to keep the guy safe. Okay, so until the next step, I'm going to pause it for a while. And naturally, while the Dhansak making is in progress, our beloved Baba is keeping an eye on the proceedings. Okay, so now the masala is beginning to look ready. You can see all the oil's risen up. That means the masala has soaked up all the flavors and the onions are all done. And very shortly, Soonoo will be turning the stove off and letting that sit while we tackle the pressure cooker. The 15 minutes are up and we've turned off the
You let it sit
stove.
in the steam. Let it cook in the steam until the pressure goes down.
Yeah, You have to
Then
be
we
very
remove
careful.
the meat. That way it gets to cook.
I made the mistake once of popping the thing before the before the pressure had gone down, and this entire wall was covered with yellow turmeric. It sprayed all over the place. My wife and my son helped clean it up. Okay, so now we're moving to the second component of Dhansak, which is the rice, the brown caramelized rice.
Yeah.
And Soonoo is going to explain in a minute what the ingredients are.
I've used a medium-sized onion, which I will fry golden brown, and then add some bay leaf, the taj, cinnamon, and cardamoms and cloves, and I'll fry it with the onions, and then I'll just mix a little bit of
So this is what? This is cumin,
cumin.
or it is whole cumin seeds.
Yeah.
And those are, what is that? A black
pepper,
cardamom, or is it something else?
Black cardamom, green cardamom, and the
Cloves.
Cloves.
Okay, and of course the bay
cinnamon
leaf.
stick.
Yeah.
And I'll also burn a little bit of sugar, just a teaspoon of sugar, because I want to make the rice brown in color.
Caramelize it, yeah.
So I'll just caramelize a little bit of sugar. So I will start frying the onions and then add all these ingredients, and when I'm starting to make the caramelize, I'll come back to it.
Okay. Okay, so we've got some oil heating up in the pan. And Soonoo feels we're going to add a bit more. Folks, while we're waiting for that, I just want to point to this masala that we've made. I didn't realize that Soonoo makes this Dhansak masala paste and freezes it and keeps it so that we can use it anytime we want to, and we don't have to keep repeatedly making it. So this is a lot more than you would normally require for the amount of dal and rice that we're making, and we'll show you how many large scoops of this masala we're going to actually use, and that will give you an idea. So sorry about that. I didn't realize we were making it for storage purposes. I thought it was a one-time thing that we did. It did look a lot. So yeah, we'll show you exactly how much we're going to add in, and then you can sort of figure out the proportions accordingly. All right, so the onions are in, and now these onions, are you going to make them golden brown, or so these are going to be golden brown type of thing?
Make the rice also a little brown.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. So we'll wait till the onions turn color and come back to you. Oh, this was just one medium-sized onion, thinly sliced.
Once the onions are a little golden brown, I'll put in all the dried spices and just lightly mix it in it.
And it's still on
And then-
medium
yeah,
flame,
just
right?
till
No,
the
no.
spices also get a little cooked.
Yeah, I'll take the
And,
saucer from you if you like.
And then I'll put this aside and bring my dish in which I'll cook the rice over. And there is a little bit of oil at the bottom. And I'm going to put sugar to caramelize the rice. And if you have a better method, you can use that. I'm just putting it to the edge of the pan. A little bit of rice, and I'll brown that.
Not rice, you meant sugar.
Sorry,
Okay.
Yeah, put it to the edge like that because I put it right there so that the whole dish doesn't get burnt.
Is it boiling?
It'll take time.
Should we crank up the fan, or would that make it too noisy?
It's up to you.
Okay, so
sugar
now
has browned in
the
there.
sugar is browned.
And adding the
And we're
onions
adding
and all
it.
the dry spice that are there. Keeping the stove on low so that we don't burn the onions anymore. They're already browned. All the oil also goes in there. Mix it up. Water is all nicely drained from the rice, so I put everything in there. Stir it up. Brown color catches on, hopefully.
Aren't you going to scrape that out?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Hands up.
There we go.
Rice also I make, the water I put in the rice is also by, I don't use any measurements, so it's just by
But it's
feel.
the standard. It's about an
Yeah.
inch above the rice,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah, the
that's
rice
the
is
way
nice
everybody
and
does it.
brown.
I've never measured. Though in college we were taught what, twice the amount?
1 cup to 2 cups
Yeah,
of water.
exactly. Twice the amount of water as the rice, yeah. But I think in college we used to use that draining method. Not the way we,
Boiled rice.
yeah. Okay.
Pour in hot water. I have to put salt.
I'm just gonna center it properly so the heat is evenly distributed.
Once it comes to a boil, then I will turn the stove down and let it cook for 15 minutes. And while it's cooking, we'll see if the pressure from the cooker is gone. Then we'll remove the meat and puree the dal to get that ready.
Now you think the water is correct or a bit more? That looks good.
Cover it. Let it come to a boil.
And this is on just a bit above medium. And how many minutes?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay, good. So the timer is set and okay. Now we're opening the pressure cooker up and there's the dal steaming away. Will the dal be cooked already?
Yeah, dal is cooked. It's all gully region. You
Yeah.
can't even see that. The meat that should be also dal cooks fast, but the meat should be. Okay, now we'll remove all the meat from the thing and puree it.
Okay, so the water was boiling, so Soonoo's lowered the heat to absolute minimum on this one.
On the rice.
On the rice. Now, did you want to swap stoves so you can have the puree thing ready over there? Okay. All right, so now Soonoo is extracting the meat, the mutton, in this case, goat meat, from the dal so that it doesn't get overcooked.
No, when we're pureeing it, it doesn't get mushed up.
Oh, that's true too,
that's
yeah.
Right.
But then after pureeing it, you will cook the dal some more, right? After you add the masala.
After add the masala, after add the meat.
So you'll add the meat back in at that point in time. Okay.
Just because I have to puree it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were removing it because it cooks, gets overcooked or something.
Yeah, because of puree.
Ah. Okay, so I think the meat extraction is almost done. Now during the meat extraction, you have to be careful so you don't remove all the vegetables and things that are floating in there, because when you puree it, that's what's going to give all the flavor. So yeah, just extract the meat only. Okay, and now we take the blender. I'm going to step back. I think my lens just got sprayed. That is one angry sounding blender, isn't it? Sounds really pissed off while you're using it. Okay, so done a pretty decent job of it, right? And back goes the mutton into the dal. It's being stirred in. And now the magical stuff that gives it all that delicious taste. So what are we doing? We've put it back on low heat. So 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then just stir it. See the color evenly and we may need to put the whole thing.
yeah, because I like it fairly spicy and So 15 regular tablespoons of the cooked masala has gone in. And then of course we'll do a taste test, right, to confirm that it is indeed. And as it cools, it actually absorbs more of the masala, so one has to be aware of that. What do you think? Oh, there we go. The decision has been made. Now that is going to be one delicious dal. Oh, look at that color.
We let it simmer just for a little while so all the masala sets in the dal. Take another teaspoon. I'm not double dipping.
Yep.
May need a little bit of salt, but that's up to you guys how much salt.
And what I would say is it's better to let it cook and cool.
Yeah,
and that gives you a better idea because the salt gets absorbed much more as it chills. Well, not chills, but cool. Oh yeah. So Dhansak is one of those dishes that if you leave it overnight, the next day it becomes more delicious.
You try it.
Okay, time for me. So just give me a minute here. Yeah, I approve. It's got just the right tanginess from the tomato. Okay, so it's cooking away over here, and the rice is cooking away over here. Okay, so we're putting the cooker cover back on.
Just to let it.
And it's still at
medium
low, and we're just going to let it sit and cook for a bit. How's the rice doing, Snow? Still doing its things? Yeah, you don't want to let the steam out and spoil it. So we'll be back when things are a bit more ready. Alright, so let's take a look at the rice, and there we are, lightly caramelized, and use a fork, of course, to fluff it up. Okay, and you can see all the bouquet that we added in there. I prefer to make a little bouquet garni and plop it in, but this actually tastes a lot better, so that's why it's in there. Okay, so the rice is done, and are we sort of ready to shut down the stove? Oh, the stove's already off. Okay, so now we're gonna serve it up and show you all the things that go together. And so folks, here is the final product. The beautiful caramelized rice, the dal with the meat in it. This is what we call a kachumber. It's not really a salad, it's an accompaniment that you take in your plate and eat it with the actual dhansak. Soonoo, what's in the kachumber?
Red onions, coriander, cucumber, and
radishes, red radishes.
Red radishes also, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we sometimes add tomato to it too. Yeah. Right? And the lime is absolutely required. Yes. Lime on the dal makes it more flavorful. And this is how we eat it. We serve the rice first, cover it with the dal, take a bit of the kachumber, as we call it, and the lime, and settle down and gobble it up, which is precisely what I'm going to do when I end this video. So, a big thank you to Soonoo for working with us.
Jai Baba,
And thanks very much. That is a specially delectable dish. Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Jai Baba.